So this is one of those great shows with one of those great almost like top line descriptions. You know, if someone just explains it in a word, if someone says, what's this about? When obviously, you know, when you get signed on to a project, you want to know so many things, who's directing it, what's the character like, and all this sort of stuff. But when you get a great little premise, a great little line, can that sometimes be enough for you to go, okay, this one sounds really good?
Sorry, I'm just thinking.
Yes, I'm thinking about the call that I got about this show. Ruth Kenny-Letts, who's one of our executive producers. I've worked with Ruth, I think, 6 times now. And so she called and I thought, oh, what's this? What's this? And she sold it to me. I can't remember exactly what she said, but I didn't know the story. I mean, I was aware of the image of the cuckoos. I was, you know, it's that famous image of them with the glowing eyes, but I hadn't read the book, and I hadn't seen the film. And I think it was made in the 60s, and so yeah, it was sold to me in a phone call, you know, before I'd even seen the script. And then I saw the script and I was like, oh my God, this is really unusual. So yeah, it's perfectly possible, I think.
Yeah, I think for me, slightly differently, when I got sent the script, my agent was like, this is really cool. I've never sort of seen anything like this before. And I think it was sort of coming off of COVID and things had just been very kind of, I think we're all in that kind of existential point of like, what are we doing with our lives? You know, anyway, I was sitting on my mum's sofa and I had my laptop open and my mum had just asked me if I wanted a cup of tea. And the first scene that I had for the audition was Susanna, Keeley's character, saying, do you want tea, love? And Cassie was sitting on the sofa and I was like, oh my God, this is weird. And then I think I just went with it. After that, I sort of felt like this might be the part for me.
So when you're starring in sort of something that's sort of science fiction-y like this, when you approach the characters, is it exactly the same approach as you would take if you were doing a sort of a kitchen sink drama? Do you fall back on the same techniques and the same perspective and just always trying to come at the truth of the character? Or does it alter dependent on how sort of fantastical and surrealist the show can get?
Yeah, I suppose it's, that kind of depends on the director quite often. You know, the rehearsal period, which you don't often get. We did have a little bit, but in television you don't get a huge amount. And so with television, your process is sort of working on it at home, you know, maybe reading the book. In this case, I didn't need to, my character, I didn't feel like I needed to, because it's such a different retelling. But it's always sort of slightly different, I think.
Yeah, I think just for me, like every performance has to be sort of rooted in kind of from my own experience or to be as truthful as possible. And I think that kind of surpasses whatever genre you're doing, because you need that performance to be like as authentic as possible. But obviously this is heightened, so I think also like you're very influenced by the other actors you're working with, and their reactions to things and responses to things sort of inform your decisions as an actor as well.
It's quite interesting on this one, wasn't it? Because it is an ensemble piece, really. You never quite know what other people, you know, the other families in the show and in the town, what sort of level of performance they might be giving, and so you might be in a show all of your own. And you know, that's where the director comes in and sort of levels everybody and makes sure that we are all in the same
that
show.
Was a big worry for us, actually, for the blackout especially. It was like, wait, how are we all going to pass out?
Yeah,
you know, like what level?
Faint?
How are we fainting? Is it? Are we coordinating the style of fainting? So yeah, I think definitely you have to look to your fellow actors to inform certain choices.
Yeah. Everyone faints to the right and it cuts to you and you just faint to the left.
Yeah, exactly.
Has that ever happened to either of you before you've watched a show and you just think, oh my God, I actually played this slightly differently to
all the time.
everyone else?
All the time. It's like, God, what was I doing? Yeah.
So do you guys believe there's stuff out there, aliens and that?
I'm starting to hope so.
Yeah, in a way, it becomes more of a hope, I think. I think,
it used to be a fear, and now I'm hoping against hope. I don't think we'd be surprised. You know, we've been talking a lot about after everything we've been through. No one could have predicted 5 years ago. We thought pandemics were the stuff of films with Kate Winslet in them, and no, they are part of our lives. So, yeah, who knows?
Yeah, strangely, I imagine it might be almost easier to act in reaction to something crazy happening in this, when you've got that something you can actually relate to now in real life.
Completely, yeah. Nothing seems, I keep saying this, but like nothing seems outside the realm of possibility after what we've all kind of been through. So I think that's why these sorts of stories are kind of appealing and interesting for audiences.
I don't mean to make you blush, Keeley, but Synnøve, I mean, as a young sort of relative newcomer, you can't have asked for a better on-screen parent than this. How great was it to work with one of the best in the country?
How
great was it?
Awful.
Yeah.
It was horrible. Terrible scene partner, I'd have to say. No, it was such a dream come true for me. I was really nervous at the beginning. I told you that when I first met her. I was really... Because there's always that worry that you won't the energy isn't quite there. No, not necessarily that you won't like each other, but sometimes you have a scene with someone and your energy isn't quite matching. So I was very fortunate that we have a very similar sense of humour.
Shared love of Nandos.
Shared love of Nandos. And it was great. We had a great time.
What's your go-to Nando's order?
Anything that she gets, really. I've never really... I'd always go for the quarter chicken. Yeah. I've only had it once or twice before meeting Keeley, and then it was a daily thing. Pitter wrap.
Maybe not daily.
No, every other day.
Every other
twice
day.
Twice weekly, maybe.
Yeah, twice weekly.
Well, since we're in a compliment paying mood, Kelly, I was going to ask about working with sort of brilliant sort of young performers. And is there a fearlessness you think from sort of youthful performances that could be quite infectious on a set?
Completely. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And and we were so lucky. I mean, Billy and Indica, who play my grandchild and Cassie's Evie, they jointly play that character. They were just... I mean, both of them were so experienced, for one thing. Technically, there wasn't anything that they didn't understand. It was all sort of, second nature to them. And I think they loved the idea of playing these creepy kids, all of them. They
loved it.
They loved it, yeah. So, I mean, every day was, full of sort of laughter and that... They were really joyful, weren't they?
Really joyful. And, there's something about working with children that's, like, very unpredictable, but that's kind of also, like, what you look for as well in work, so it's great.
So when you sign on for a series like this, do you think ahead when it comes to your character development? Do you think about where they could be in future series? Do you think even about logistically, will I have to block out X amount of weeks or months a year for this? Or when you take on a TV series, do you always just think about this one series and just treat it purely as a one-off and just then see where it goes after that?
I think of it as a one-off because I usually die.
I was going to say, it depends on the contract. But yeah, no, for this, it was definitely... My character is so kind of in the dark throughout this series. And then, I think there's a bit of a baton passing, perhaps. So that was very exciting for me. So I definitely look to the future and always want to see where this character's going in the long run. But yeah, again, depends on the contract. No, joking.
Well, I'm hoping for more Midwich after this, for sure. Thank you so much for your time today. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Great questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey